Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Okay, so my story that I've chosen to read today is called The Hare and the Tortoise, and there's a lovely message in this story, so I hope you enjoy it. So, The Hare and the Tortoise. The hare was always boasting about how fast he could run. "I'm the fastest animal in the land," he would say. One day, the hare asked, "Who will run a race against me?" The other animals were fed up with the hare's boasting, so no one would accept his challenge because they did not want to lose. No one, that is, except, do you know who? It's the tortoise. Ah, ha, ha, ha! The hare laughed out loud. The other animals gasped. The tortoise just smiled. I wonder why he's smiling. Preparations for the race began, and the fox drew up a map of the route. The race was to take place the following week. Whoosh! For the next 7 days, the hare showed off, speeding around the meadow and dashing up the hills, knocking animals over and upsetting just about everyone. The tortoise just watched from afar as he chewed on the grass and leaves. He's not practicing, is he, the tortoise? The night before the race, the tortoise went to bed early, smiling happily as the sun went down. Early to bed, early to rise, he said to himself. Meanwhile, the hare stayed up late, partying with his neighbours, the badgers. They look like they're having a really good time. The next day dawned bright and sunny. The tortoise awoke, refreshed and full of energy. He ate a hearty breakfast and then got ready for the race. The hare wasn't feeling quite so refreshed. I wonder why. His late night meant that he hardly had slept at all, and he felt exhausted. He poured himself a large glass of carrot juice and yawned loudly. Out in the meadow, the animals were gathering for the race. There were stalls selling cakes and sandwiches, balloons and bunting had been tied to the trees, and a party atmosphere was building. Everyone is so excited. At last, it was time for the race to start. Feeling more like his usual self, the hare took his place at the start line. "Get ready to lose," he said to the tortoise. "It's not very kind, is it? I'm shocked." The tortoise just smiled. He didn't seem to be worried at all. Then the fox began the countdown to the race. "On your marks, get set." The whistle blew and they were off. Who do you think is going to win, guys? The hare dashed away at full speed around the meadow, then up the hill. He stopped to look back, and he saw the tortoise plodding along far behind. Grinning happily, the hare danced a little jig on the hilltop. As he ran down the hill, the hare grabbed some crunchy lettuces from the field. He stopped for a mid-morning snack. Yummy," he said. The sun was warm, and he decided to have a short nap. After all, he had had a late night, and Tortoise was so far behind him. In the meantime, the tortoise carried on over the hill and over the top. He saw the hare snoozing under a tree, and he marched bravely past. The hare didn't stir at all. Much later, feeling stiff and cold, the hare woke up with a start. He looked up at the sun and he saw how low it was in the sky. Oh my goodness, it must almost be evening. He feared the worst. The hare flew around the rest of the route at top speed, and he ran like he'd never run before. Oh no! Who's this? But in the distance he heard shouting and clapping, and could just make out the tortoise nearing the finish line. With the finish line in sight and the crowd roaring him on, the tortoise staggered on as fast as he could. A few minutes later, he crossed the line to huge applause and the crowd shouting his name. The hare had lost his own challenge. From now on, perhaps he wouldn't be so boastful. Slow and steady wins the race. The end. And that's the end of the story of the hare and the tortoise. I hope you enjoyed it, everyone.